DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday night here on DJNTV. This is our final show for tonight, but this is probably the biggest show ever.
Ever.
Because tonight,
forever.
You see that stack of albums behind Brian? Tonight, we're going to ignore them. Because that's like another video coming out at a later time, because we've got big news. We've got a world debut tonight, and that is Jay Brannan's new attire.
He's dressed like John Riggs.
Yeah. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Jay, what are we looking at? What do we got there, my friend?
This is the FLX6. Brand new, came out today. This is, I would call this the, not entry level so much as getting into DJing and really wanting to kind of go up. Instead of starting with something small, like a 2-channel version with like a DDJ-400 or SB3, this will run Rekordbox DJ or Serato Pro DJ, not Serato DJ Lite, as you would with the SB3. But this runs the full suite of Serato. It has the same size platters as the DDJ-1000. It is bus powered. What I love about it is it's very lightweight. It's bus powered. And it's the kind of thing that you just, with a laptop and pair of headphones, and you're just practicing. Doesn't matter where you are. As long as your laptop's powered up, you're good to go.
When you say bus powered, what you mean is it's USB powered, right?
Yes, USB powered. Just as one cable is powering it off of the laptop. So you don't need the extra power cables. You don't need anything like that. This will be a discussion for DJs. I understand that completely. It is RCA output. 2 sets of outputs, master and booth. So you are doing an RCA, but you can convert it over to a 1/4 inch, as I used to do with the DJM-400 mixer. No issues there. Full 4-channel support, 1 microphone, 8 pads on either side. And like I said, it's set up for Rekordbox and for Serato Pro DJ. So some of the headings will change. You've got HotQ, you've got Pad Effects 2, you've got Beat Jump, and you've got Sampler. That's for Rekordbox. Then you've got a different set of effects on a second layer. If you hit Shift, as you know, you go to the lower gray level. And if you're using it with Serato, with their newest version, I think it's 2.4.2 that came out today to actually support this, then you get a different set of effects, different set. You still get HotQ, but you do get different things. I think there's a slicer and a roll, roll. So quick layout. Up here, starting up on the top, you've got your looping. This is in the same section as the DDJ-1000. It borrows from a lot of the higher-end gear as far as placement. As usual, you've got your cue and play buttons down here. You have a shift button here. You have dual mode, which we saw with the DDJ-SX to start with, where by hitting this, you get decks 3 and 1 or decks 2 and 4 at the same time. If you're good with that, if you're practicing and you've got acapella on one channel, instrumental on the other, I think you can do a lot of cool things with that.
Sure.
Again, full-size platter. I don't want to get us into any trouble with copyright, but,
Right.
So you can go in and practice scratching. You do have this needle right here, which tells you where you are. So it's really accurate as to Rekordbox. Like when it's at noon, it's at noon in the software. So really helpful. You have a jog cutter, which is sort of giving you scratch effects. So while you're playing a song, if you hit the jog cutter and go to one of the different things, it mimics an effect. We saw this with the DDJ SB3 with the, who was it? Jeff, the Magnificent one, had put in pre-set up scratches. This difference is you actually do the scratching, but it does do an algorithm for it. So very cool. This big button up here is the one that everyone's kind of talking about. This is our new merge effects. This takes 2 or 3 different effects that you choose, puts them together, and allows you to use it as a transitional point. You can have it break. You can also have it flange, and then you can have a release effect on the end of it. So as you engage it and fire the effects while you're playing a song, it overtakes the song, then it ends with something, and then you transition to your next track. So it makes it really cool. You've got 4 banks of those, and those are in the software, fully adjustable. We're waiting, I believe, Serato, since it only launched today, they do not have it fully MIDI mapped. It does some things in Serato, but doesn't do as much as it does in Rekordbox.
Sure.
But that's kind of like the really big thing. This would be big with getting somebody who's new to DJing and wanted to get really cool transition, firing off multiple effects at once, and then being able to immediately transition over to the next track. All of your main controls are up here as far as viewing windows, jumping around within software. You have one big knob up here to go through and pick what you want to load the 4 decks. You simply load with a load button on top. You also have the option to turn deck 4 into a sampler deck. So your samples would all play off deck 4, and you'd affect them with a filter or different tones and trim that way. And then you come over here and you really have your master out, your booth out. You can cue your master out, and then your beat effects. And again, it's set up in 2 banks of 3 effects, effects 1, effects 2. So you can just simply pushing this button go through which one you want, then fire them down here. You pick which channel you're sending the effect to, and then the frequency of the effect as far as what beat parameter you want to use. It's really nice. I got it, and I can see it being good for somebody that, like I said, wants to get into DJing, is in a little bit different level than, let's say, a DDJ-400 or SB3, wants to get a full-size platter but doesn't want to commit to a DDJ-1000. I think for people that are on the fence going pro-ish mobile, let's say, if you had this to start with and then decided to go up to a 1000, this would be a great practice or backup. It's plastic. It's very light. This is going to go in a bag. I don't know the exact weight. My guess is in the 4-pound range.
Oh, wow.
It's very, very light.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So, you know, this is the kind of thing you put in a bag, you take to a small party, you plug into your computer, boom. Either headphones, output from the RCA, you've got the booth out. So it leans both ways, but I honestly am not going to tell you if I was, you know, as I am a full-time mobile DJ, would I run this out on gigs? I don't think so. I think I'd keep this a little bit more for getting into or for small gigs. If somebody called me and said, hey, you want to come over and spin a little bit? Oh, man, do you have like a good surround system? Yeah, perfect. This would go.
Sure.
In a heartbeat. Because I could just RCA into their surround system and I'm done. Somebody's got 1-2 speakers set up, RCA in, I'm good. Would I go do a 8-hour wedding with this? I could, but with the one mic, that would hold me back a little bit. You know, so I really think that you're looking at a piece that's more of a nod to the pro end with the platters, with the effects, with the merge effects, to kind of elevate the introductory piece.
So Jay, so we've got this device, and in
Yes.
the world that we live in right now, where DJs are spinning in their basement, their living room, their bedroom, what have you,
Right.
this is, I mean, a 1000 is overkill for that application because it's got a lot of tools and things and abilities that you wouldn't use. So really, if you're someone who wants to be the online or the virtual performer, I think that's the market or the person that this is aiming for. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you 100%. Like I said, it's either for the introductory guy or girl or the DJ that's already been spinning and is in between, you know, what do I want to commit to? I'm going to go with software. I'm not going to go with modular. I'm not going to get 2 turntables and a mixer and all that, but I still want platters. And I think that's the big thing because it's really a 4-channel, more of an intro piece, but it brings in the ability to have the merge effects. In the right hands, I think the merge effects are going to do some amazing things.
Sure.
I'm going to try putting a setup this week on Twitch with this because I just need the RCAs to get into the laptop because that's all I've ever used. So all my driveway sets were done RCA into OBS. So therefore, this is perfect.
Yeah, precisely.
The other benefit is, you know, technically I could go out front with headphones and my laptop on the front porch with no power supply and use this to go on Twitch because I don't need power for it. As long as the laptop's powered up, I'm good to go. So I think it's got a lot of applications. And the big thing is it's under $600.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where the conversation changes a little bit. It's not $799, $999. You're not looking at that investment. Yes, it's still a big investment, but comparative to spending $1,100 for a 1000 or $1,000 for an SX3, I think it's going to have a spot in the marketplace where people are going to be pretty happy with it. It's not for everybody. If you're a full-time mobile DJ, if you're a full-time club guy, you might have fun with the merge effects and the jog cutter, but it's not really for you. And I think that's a little bit of the confusion today when it first launched, actually at midnight, was people going, this isn't what I want. It's not made.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I know you wish we made everything for you, but technically we made this for the DJ that wants to do more than just the SB3. Because let's face it, as good as those two pieces are, if you wanted to go to somebody's house to do a house party and you came in with this, it gives a different look.
You know, I've been...
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
I was just going to say, just in regards to what you're talking about here, and I'm even reading the comment section, I've been doing YouTube videos forever, and I've done a lot of product stuff. You know, they'll send you stuff, you show it. And, you know, in the videos, I always say, hey, you know, this is going to be nice for this application or that application. But people get angry almost. It's not for their application.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's not for what I do? It's not this one. Guys, settle down. But I'm thinking, then on the other hand, I'm thinking, how about you look at this and see how you could use it? Now, if you don't want it, that's fine. But how could you use it? And I'm thinking about our situation right now, where we're going real small on events.
Yeah.
And for holiday parties.
Yeah.
People going into, you know, private residences and things with maybe a single speaker or something. That's all RCA in anyway. Why would you want to lug a big giant thing? I mean, I'm doing a freaking Amazon Fire tablet with DJ.
Yeah.
This is a step up from that. And it doesn't weigh anything. It's very compact. Not that, you know, someone may need it, but that would be an application for it. That would be a really nice application for it.
Well, and that's the thing. This isn't going to scare off anyone who's got any sort of a, you know, I can't carry something heavy. I don't have a big vehicle. I don't want to carry anything heavy. This goes right into that slot. But, you know, it takes the 400 SB3 look and feel. And in my opinion, it makes it look a lot more professional. We as DJs might look at this and say, oh, I don't like the matte gray, or I wish it had. But if you're the everyday customer, you see this resembles vinyl a lot more than on most beginner pieces.
Right. Yes.
Have you ever talked to New York City DJs about what they go through to get into a venue? It's insanity. I remember talking to this one guy in the old days. They would have to get a van that would just constantly circle the block. One person would just be the driver. Then another person would be kind of the lookout, and another person or two would be loading in and out the gear. And now with some of the smaller stuff, people are going on the subway because they can. They're bringing a small compact system that they can strap onto their back or something. It's possible to do.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's not for every application. I totally understand that. And I really do appreciate your presentation on this, where you're not suggesting it would be. You're being very, hey, this is what it is. This is what it does. Let's not pretend it's something it's not. But there are applications for something like this, for sure. Very useful applications.
Yeah. I mean, I know I've seen some of the comments and they're like, well, I need master view, you know, lights, because I need to know what my it's like, no, you're thinking past the point of it. You know, it'd be like, I've got the S11 in the background. It'd be like punching holes in that and going, well, I don't like the fit. It's like, but we didn't make that for you.
Right.
Like, and it's okay. Not everything is made for me. Not everything is made for John or you. Like, you know, I mean, the CDJ-3000 is here. That's just not for me.
I love looking at comment sections sometimes on video presentations and things like this, for people, well, I want this and this and this and this and this in a mixer or a controller. It's like, okay, if you were to build what they asked for, once they saw the price tag, they'd fall over of a heart attack. Yeah. Because
no, absolutely. And you and I have had these talks, you know, where other people have the, like, if you could build any car, you and I have had the, what's the perfect piece of gear? And it's I think it's most enlightening to talk with you because of your experience, professionalism, but also your position in the marketplace where you're like, dude, I don't care how cool this is. I'm not carrying a 40-pound item. Like, that's just not going to happen. I could put this in a bag. You one-handed can take this in and out, put it down,
right,
and you're done. And again, you got to stop and think perception and reality. Reality might be, I want. Perception is, wow, that looks really cool. I mean, my wife walks in and sees it and goes, new gear? I'm like, yeah. She goes, that looks really cool. They look like records. Well, guess what? She's a customer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
She's a normal everyday person that doesn't DJ. So when she says to me, those look like records.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do, actually. I didn't think about that. I literally looked at it, went, oh, yeah, it does.
Yeah, they look
wow. Didn't dawn on me.
or something.
Yeah. But it's that Beck 2 turntables and a microphone that's been ingrained in people, like, this is what professional DJs carry. So if you're not at that level yet, but that's your aspiration, make it. I'm a firm fan of spend $5.99, take 6 months a year and find out, especially now where you could be on Twitch. You could do the, Scrappa John C every night on Twitch and become famous.
Right.
And then at the end of it, come out going, man, I've made some money on Twitch, or I've saved some money. I'm going to get a new setup. Or, I'm going to stay on Twitch. What's that?
I love these things when they go to sleep. They trip out. They're fun.
Yeah, you got to love the demo lights.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I would rather someone, and this will be a new piece in my, armory to tell people, what do you, oh, he wants to be a DJ. What do you use? I use stuff he doesn't need. Why don't you try this? Because this looks like what I use, but you're saving $600 or $700, and you're still getting the feel of a professional DJ.
How do you like it as far as functionality goes?
I like it. I used it yesterday for about half an hour, and I just did what I would do at a gig, which is hit play, line up the 2 tracks, bring them in. I used the effects. I had no issues with it. You got to realize I'm using an XE and a DDJ-1000 SRT. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm hitting play. I'm looking for a track. I'm loading a track, and then I'm mixing those 2 tracks, and I'm on to the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
I use echo on effects a lot. I use flange once in a blue moon. The merge effects were cool. They might be a little more than I need. Because, again, the merge effects work like if you had 10,000 people in front of you, and you hit it, and at the end of it, you hear the sample go, oh, yeah. And the next track hits, you're like, you feel like a stud. I mean, all I did was get yelled at to turn it down. But, it mimics that whole big festival experience. Sure. So I think that's more, I've heard the word gimmick. I think it's less gimmick and more, here's something you could become very good at. But also along the way, you're going to learn.
Yeah.
Do you think, Jay, that merge effects is going to be something we'll see on other boards coming out as we go forward, or is that going to be something that'll stay kind of in this more of a entry bedroom online type of DJ?
Well, it's a feature in Rekordbox. It's a drop-down window feature in Rekordbox. I don't know if you can see. You probably can't.
Yeah, it'd be tough to see.
Let's see how well I can do this without knocking anything over. But this is actually, if the light's not too bright, this is the various merge effects. So you see you have your build, your release, and your drop, and you pick what each one is. Since this is already in Rekordbox, I can't say that I would be surprised if it showed up somewhere else.
Okay.
And if this was an option on a bigger piece, would I utilize it? Yeah, I probably would. The same way I use a loop and an echo, and I cut the loop really quick, and then I echo the track out and bring in the other song. We're already sort of doing this, but I think if it was given to me as one option with one button, yeah, I could see myself using it here and there. I think if you used it every song, it would become overkill. It would be like we used to be with the flanger back in the early 2000s, where like every DJ was living on the flanger. And then the that came in and that replaced the flanger. I don't know if this will be a future option, but I can see where the right DJ doing the quick mix sets of a minute and a half a song could utilize this to their end, and it would be amazing. And, you know, some of the guys you and I know that are that style, quick, flashy mix guys, almost like a James Hype style, where it's a lot of effects going constantly, this would be a huge thing for them. I'd love, and I'm going to suggest that to Europe, I'd love to see James Hype get on this and go through it a little bit, because I think he's the type that would find ways to utilize it that we can't even perceive. You know? But yeah, I think it's a nice piece. I enjoyed using it. It's in my realm, in my industry where I live and work, it would be something if the neighbors came over tomorrow and said, hey, you know, do you want to come over and spin in our house? You know, we already have a big stereo system. Yeah, I'll take this. And I would in a heartbeat, because it would be me and this and a laptop. No power, no cables, just the RCA. Where I think this will really kill is give me a DJ that has those, what is it, Sennheiser, that has the kind of Bluetooth outputs. If you could Bluetooth out to a speaker, or the Sennheiser IS400 or 300, now you've got a completely wireless system, because you have one power from your laptop to the controller, and you put the transmitters on the back and they go to the speakers, and you're done. So I can see that as being an option too.
Excellent. And I think tomorrow night, I think MJ was going to chat with you, Jay. I think he was going to see if you were available, because MJ's going to come at this from a club perspective, as a guy who does heavy mixing and such. Not that Brian and I don't do some things, but he looks at things at a completely different perspective than what
we don't do those things.
We do. Right. We do some very, very basic stuff. Nothing to the level of what MJ does.
Well, no, and I'd be happy with MJ to go much more in depth on the merge effects and maybe give examples.
And maybe you can bring it in a little closer for the camera and such. This is a beautiful. Thank you very much for giving us.
I apologize. This was kind of a last minute. I spoke with my boss and said, "Hey, I'm on Disc Jockey News tonight."
Yeah, no, this was absolutely
I've
fabulous.
Got it. Can I show it? And he's like, "Yeah, go ahead."
Yeah, this is great. Because that opens up the door for tonight's show, Jay. If you want to slide back into your camera there, and we'll get for mobile DJs. And as Jay's kind of pointed out with this particular one, it's got an application, which all controllers do. Some fit mobile DJs better, and some don't. And since Brian and I are primarily old, crotchety mobile DJs, old crotchety guys, just
Not me. I'm much more John Riggs.
Yes,
Martin Riggs from Lethal Weapon's cousin.
Martin Riggs' cousin.
His cousin, the one. So what we wanted to talk tonight was about, as a mobile DJ, what kind of things would you be looking for in your perfect controller? And that's what we're going to kind of wrap up the rest of our or deal with the rest of the show. And we've talked about this before, Brian. You and I have mentioned some things that we would like to see. So I'm going to throw it out to you first, because you can kind of share a couple of the things that you have over the years kind of wanted to see in that controller that would be the ultimate controller for the mobile DJ.
Before I do that, can I give some room shout-outs?
Oh, please do, yes.
Yeah, we have Bar joining us tonight. We have Scott Carroll, Day Night DJs. We've got Jimmy. We've got Robin. We've got CB Shaw in the house.
Wow, we got Bar in the house.
We got Bar in the house.
A lot of great.
We got Good Guys Productions in the house. We got all kinds of fun people here. JC's here from Mexico City. We got Howie.
We're international.
Wow. An all-star cast tonight, so thank you all for joining us.
Damn. Look at that chat room. That's fired up.
Yeah.
I like it.
So the question was, what do I want in a controller?
Yeah, let's kind of talk about some of the things that we'd like to see. And then Jay's going to take our notes back, and then
I'm taking them as we speak.
Yeah, he's going to make it happen.
I tell you, for a while, what I wanted, all I asked for was clean inputs for a sound card, a good sound card, clean outputs, and 2 microphone inputs, XLR, with at least a 3-band equalizer on them.
Yep.
I wasn't really too concerned with more than 2 channels, although a 3rd channel is very nice to have, or a 4th channel. But those were the big things that I wanted. Much less worried about things like effects and such. I will say this. After we did the convention in Vegas,
Yep.
the three of us, I was really sold on having a controller that has the ability to play internally with a USB stick. That was so cool. And having the screen there so you can easily search your tracks. I love it. That was amazing. I didn't think I wanted that until I saw it. And then I really wanted it because it's a really cool thing to have, even if it's just as backup.
Yeah, for sure.
That was hot. That's my simple list. I don't care about a lot of pads and a lot of crazy effects. A couple of effects are nice, but I don't need them. I just like the clean inputs, the clean outputs. Of course, XLR is nice, but in the microphones, at least two, is good for what I do. But yeah, man, that internally being able to have a little screen there to play internally as even as backup or as main, whatever you want to do. I think it's so clever. I really like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't think I wanted it, but Jay really turned me on to that.
Jay,
we had the XDJ-RR in the
Love
children.
Love it.
Yeah, you were really into it.
I genuinely like that piece. There's a lot of stuff that I've gotten before. It's like, okay, well, it works, whatever. I really genuinely like that. That was so cool. It was put together well.
Yeah.
Jay, what are some of the features that you, as a mobile DJ, really utilize and enjoy on the controllers that you'd want to have on your Ultimate controller?
Me?
Jay.
It's funny. I thought it was when I first really fast backstory. I didn't even attempt using a laptop till 2011, so I was very late to the dance. And after using it once with the DDJ-S1, which was a 2-channel Serato controller, I really loved that till the SX came out. And then I said, oh, this is everything I need. I'm not a scratch guy, so I don't need big platters. I'm done. And then they brought me on to the DDJ-1000. And I hate to say this, but part of what I want is what it looks like. Like there's an appearance factor of, wow, there was a year and a half in the middle of the SX2 and the DDJ-1000 where I went to the SZ. And I'll be damned if every event I didn't get a compliment. Now that thing weighs 40 pounds, maybe 38 pounds, plus a case. You're in the 60s. It's heavy, it's big, it's bulky, but everywhere I went, man, look at that thing. That thing looks impressive. That thing's big, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, I look better. I look more pro. Then the 1000 came out, and I'm like, this is everything I want. Until the XDJ-XZ came out. And I love that thing. Love it, love it, love it. I love the platters. And just like Brian said, it's a standalone. I had that wedding in September. It was 116. And I did everything off a USB stick for the first 4 hours of a 7-hour event. No laptop, had everything in a playlist, picked songs, mixed songs, did whatever I want.
Let me ask you this. Since you used it, and it had the screen on it, and it was obviously daytime because you do most of your stuff daytime.
Yep, it was.
Could you see the screen okay?
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a video I put on YouTube where I say the reason I love this is, and it was shot that day at that time, and you can clearly see the screen.
That's nice.
So I didn't have any issues with it. You can always do this routine,
Right.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah.
If you're in dead direct sunlight.
Yeah.
When I designed a controller a few years ago and I got laughed at, and I might get laughed at by the chat room tonight along with everyone else, and I completely understand that. But I said, is it possible on a 4-channel controller to have 4 platters? And the people I was speaking with were like, why? I'm like, because I don't like switching. Like I use 4 decks because I'm old school, and old school is that if channel 1 breaks on your mixer, you move the RCAs to channel 2.
Right.
And it's happened.
Yep.
Like I can think of probably 10 times in my career where a fader gets loose or you get static and you go, uh-oh, unplug, plug next.
Yeah, ask me why there are 3 1200s sunk into my desk. Not 2, but 3.
Right, exactly.
You did. The old school guys did that.
All my old photos of me show me with 2 CDJ-1000s and a 400 or a 200 because I used to mix with 3 decks. But the third deck wasn't to be cool. It was, oh, let me grab this CD. Maybe I want this song instead.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually thought a perfect controller would be a 4-channel slim mixer, beat effects, 2 mics, 3 band EQ on each, and then physically 4 platters. You would just make them a little smaller and in a smaller. So if you're looking at this, it would be only a little wider, but the platters would have to be smaller, but you would just have them sectioned.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, I rarely ever go to 4 decks. Rarely.
Here,
I
okay.
use a 3rd deck.
I don't either. But let me ask, I got a question, because maybe there's something out there that I don't know about. Maybe this is something that's standard and I'm just not aware of it. Is there like a big, bold, color-coded indicator that tells you whether you're running deck 1 or deck 3?
Yes.
How big and bold is it?
You look at the platters, they go blue or white.
Okay, so it's the platter itself.
Yeah, inside the platter, like on the 1000,
okay,
the rim and the background go blue or white.
It'd be really cool.
On decks 1 and 3 or 2 and 4.
It'd be cool if they actually had the 1 or the 3 on there as well in the color.
They do. Like on the XZ.
See, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like decks 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 are on the outside because of the way Serato was. And that's the funniest thing. When you look at a 4-channel mixer, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. But once it becomes a controller, it automatically goes 3, 1, 2, 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that's based on Serato Scratch Live.
Mm-hmm.
When we first did a 4-channel mixer or controller that worked with Serato, we had to have it match up.
Right.
So we put 1 and 2 in the middle, 3 and 4 on the outside. And they do change colors. Even on something like the SR, which is a 2-channel, when you're on decks 3 and 4, not 1 and 2, because you only have 2 faders, they go to, I believe, they go from white to orange in the middle light. So you clearly know, oh, I'm on another deck. My problem is I have enough to remember what the next song is.
Let alone what color.
I don't, unless there's a flare coming up that goes wrong deck.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe the chat room can answer this. I've had problems where I had to go and, I've loaded a dead track. And what I mean by that is I've loaded a track into Serato that killed the deck. So the deck goes black.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And I another track and it won't load. So now I'm on decks 1 and 2 and I've lost deck 2. So what I've had to do is shift over to deck 4 and then work on decks 1 and 4 for the rest of the event. And just remember not to use the fader for 2.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of the only time that having the 4 decks to me is imperative. Because if I was on 2 decks on like an S11 or an S9 and I lost, well, with S11 it's different. You've got those optionals. But if you lose the deck, to me, I'm like, whoa, I still need 4 decks. But I'm the first to admit, I envy when I watch guys on YouTube that are doing 4-deck, 3-deck mixes, really long, drawn-out tech stuff. And man, what skill and talent. I can't do it. And if I did, it would be on sync. I would use, that's the whole point of sync to me, is if you're doing 3 and 4 decks, do yourself a favor, be perfect, hit sync, enjoy yourself, go nuts. Don't, if you have a backhoe, don't feel you need to dig my pool with a shovel to prove to me you're cool.
I got a question. I've got another question.
Yeah.
Aaron the DJ just made a comment that I think is actually a pretty good comment. He's saying, here I am wanting a nice standalone 4-channel with no platters. If there was a DJ out there who wanted something like that, and I might be one of those guys myself, what would be a good mixer to look at? Let's say we wanted it to MIDI up the stuff, but we really didn't need it to have the platters built in. What would be something nice to look at that's on right now? You've got several options.
Everything's got a platter. Yeah. Well, because the point of the platter is less about the mix and more about even just like pitch bend.
No, that's not true. You've got.
Well, no, I was going to say it's not only to catch pitch bend, but it's also to get spots and queue up and all that.
I was going to say the
purpose.
cue points, to be able to manually manipulate the track to go and say,
yeah,
there we go. We're on beat 1 now. Let's go.
Well, no, let's just say, I don't know what Aaron's trying to do here, but let's just pretend for a minute that Aaron is using turntables. He doesn't want platters.
Then you get a mixer.
That's what I'm saying. What would be a cool mixer to look at for something like that?
900 Nexus 2.
Now, that's pretty much your top shelf, right?
Right. I mean, I think the best mixer for what you would want, the best mixer we ever made was the 5000.
Well, yeah, that's a 19-inch. But what if somebody wanted a 12-inch club mixer? Where does it start? Does it start at the 750?
Yeah.
Okay.
Starts 750.
And
let's not forget, there's great used gear out there. You could go back to a 600. You might sacrifice some of the sound quality compared to today's electronics, but you're not gonna. This could start a fire, but if you turned your back to the system, and I played from RCA to XLR to 1/4 inch on a 600, a 900, and a V10, you might only notice the V10 because it's got compression.
Now, right now, I'm listening to your voice over the original 750.
Right.
So it's a nice mixer. I've had it at the desk here for, 6 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 or 6 years?
Yeah, you've had it for a while.
It's a good piece. And the thing is used every day. Like, every day I use the thing. And it's been just fine. I've never had a problem with it. What's the price range of the 750? Mark II. Roughly. It's under $1,000, right?
Yeah, I want to say it's 8 something.
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up. That's off the top of my head. I want to say like 849 maybe.
Right.
79, something like that.
And then from there, you go to...
What do you think of the 450?
I love the 450.
450 is like under 600, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 10-inch club mixer. And it's, for a mobile guy, you got to do some stuff to get some extra mic on there and such. But otherwise, it's fantastic. For me, I love the thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of the dream mixer.
I think the problem, Brian, is the engineering side of the DJ industry has always split us up. Mm-hmm. And they've made us, this is what mobiles want. This is for clubs.
Yeah.
So once it gets to the 12-inch club mixer, that third mic is never around. My first mixer was a 3000 because it had 3 mics.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that was even rare back in 2002, 2003. Mixers weren't all coming loaded with 3 mics. I figured my mic, efficient, speaker.
No, I don't need 3 exits too.
Or
one really good one.
Right, but I'm saying for me, I wanted 3 mics that all had 3 band. And that case, had 3 band EQ on all the mics. It had effects mixing on the cue.
Sure.
It's really funny when you come right down to what we want and what we actually utilize are 2 entirely different things.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's the problem. Like, if the 5000 came, I said to someone the other day in Japan, if the 5000 came out again, but with 4 effects, like a delay, an echo, a reverb, and a flanger as effects for beat effects, and made it under $1,000 in a club mixer format, I think they'd sell 1 billion of them.
I do too.
Most DJs don't use more than that. Or, this got me laughed out of a meeting once. Or, what about this? Much like the car market. What do you want, sir? I want the new DJM Pro. Okay, here are your options. What color? I'd like it in white. You got it. 2 mics or 3?
Modular.
Pick the 3 mic.
Modular.
Yes, where you literally, or have the pieces come together, where you get just the channel mixer. Do you want to get modular pad effects on the right and the beat effects on the left? Or do you want to get extra mics and isolators for each channel? Sure. Or do you want and you end up putting together like Legos, your whole system. So now you have 1 platter because you only scratch on the right. So you only need a right platter. But on the left, you have like the DJS 1000 pads.
Yeah.
So you can drum while you're scratching.
Yeah.
You can tell I scratched because I went like this. Obviously, Hubert taught me this.
Yeah, it was right there. It was perfect.
Like
I learned a little bit just watching that.
This is me at last call.
Nice.
Need a drink?
No, I'm completely good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of variance in the market, but I also think sometimes the market tells the customer what they want, and maybe not as well as, let's say, Apple does. Maybe
I think Apple does a rotten job too. So
yeah, but we didn't know we wanted a phone in our pocket that, you know, had more technology than the Apollo 13.
Yeah.
And now we have it and go, damn, I need even more. I need 200 megapixel cameras so I can take photos of, you know, look at Brian Kay. Brian Kay is putting up photos of the moon that I thought were from NASA. And he's like, no, it's my new phone with like 50 times digital zoom. Like, damn, I think I can see the flag from here. It's like,
right.
You know, I think DJ's equipment has gone the same way. It's that it's two turntables and a microphone mentality of here they go. They need mixers. They need platters. And when you talk to DJs, you get, if I did a serious poll in the room, I'd get 75 different variances. And you have to kind of go to the middle and go, okay, it's got to have at least 2 mics. Do we really need 3-band EQ? Well, Jay and Brian keep bitching about it. Well, yeah, because the mid is really where the vocal is, and it really helps with feedback and everything else. Yeah, but they'll be okay with just 2 because we put up with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's been that standard for so long.
You know, though, as far as that 3-band EQ thing goes, it just seems like a logical thing to do. But I will say this. Since I've gone with the more, shall we say, a more premium speaker system, I haven't really needed it. I haven't had that mic feedback issue that I used to have. I'm using better microphones. I'm using better speakers.
I'll be honest with you. I'm in the same boat you are. The XZ has a feedback eliminator. I've never used it. I mean, I have people toast all the time and walk near the speakers, and I don't quite know what's changed. But, you know, 10 years ago, like, you had feedback at every wedding.
All the time, yeah.
Now, I just don't get it. And I don't know if it's the Express speakers, the JBL PRX I use, or what. But even when I bought the JBLs, I remember talking on the mic near them and going, I really should be hearing feedback. And I kept walking towards them.
Yeah.
And they're really, you know, I think you're right. I think the technology, maybe it's DSP, I don't know.
I don't know.
The technology has changed so much.
Something's different. Maybe it's to pick up patterns on my microphones. I mean, if it's not that wide, that would make sense. I can make feedback happen, but I have to try to make it happen. It's not like the old days where I've got somebody, you know, 50 feet away from me doing a toast, and I'm freaked out that they're anywhere, you know, facing the speaker doing this. Right. It's not like that anymore. It's just, I don't know.
I don't want to hijack it, but, you know, talking about microphones, what makes the perfect microphone? Well, this one will go 200 feet. Dude, no one's going 200 feet. I want a mic that'll go 30 feet with a 300-pound guy with a body pack on his belt. When he turns, it doesn't cut out.
Doesn't drop.
Well, the idea behind that, I think, and this is how I think of it, and I think the same way when I'm talking about wireless DMX or a wireless signal to a light or whatever, a remote, doesn't matter. If it has a range of something crazy like 800 feet, all right? I know that there's no scenario I'm ever going to be in where somebody's going to be 800 feet away using my microphone. I understand that, but I also understand that that is line of sight. Right. So if line of sight is 800 feet, then it'll probably go around a wall at 40 feet.
Right. But that's
kind of how I think of it.
Like, that would be the better ad. When I say to guys about mic packs, and I'm like, I've had people 40 feet away with a mic pack turn, and I hear that click in the speaker that I'm losing signal. That freaks me out. Don't tell me that the guy could walk on a perfect day with no electronics nearby all the way down. Like, I don't care. I don't need him to talk to me down there because the delay alone will be ridiculous. Yeah. Just give me something that's like, you know, like that would be a great NAMM thing. Like the new Shure 1000 passes through human body like no other. Okay, that's the one I want. Give me that one. How big is the guy it went through? 350. That's the mic I need.
Yeah.
This is guaranteed to get through a 350 bumper.
Well, because look at the difference now, Brian, John. You know, you get a wedding. I had a fictitious wedding this past Saturday. Not a real one. It didn't really happen. We had 12 people on the bride's side and 11 on the grooms. That's then the bride and groom and the officiant. You've got over 22 cell phones. Maybe not as, I'll take that back. Let's cut that down to like 15 or 16 cell phones. Because the bridesmaids probably didn't have their cell phones, but the guys all had cell phones. Right. So now I have all this RF stuff shooting around. I'm trying to get 2 wireless mics. We had Netflix filming for a show coming up, so they had body packs on them. I had a videographer with body packs on them, and I had body. I'm like, guys, master that. What do you think about wireless built into the system, Brian? What if the controller had the ability to respond to an app wirelessly? So let's say you walk across the room and you realize your music's a little loud. You take out your phone, you open an app, and you can quiet the system down.
You can still kind of do that with the electric voice stuff.
Yeah, there's some software to help that, but that would be.
But I'm saying if you could do it on the actual controller, like you could control the mic volume, and you could go so far as if you had software going, you could change songs on a phone or an iPad.
Yeah, that technology exists with electric voice.
Right, and, but I'm saying like we had 2 controllers come out 10 years ago that did that.
Right. No,
but I'm wondering, were they too far ahead of themselves? Because now if I'm at a wedding and I'm on the other side of the room and I notice that the toaster isn't loud enough, I have to physically run back to the board to turn the mic up. It'd be great to reach into my pocket and be able to go.
Mm-hmm. Okay, do you remember the Evolve 30Ms we were working with at?
Yeah, no, they totally have that.
They've got that built-in Dynacord amp.
Yeah, so they could.
So you've got 4 line ins and then 2 stereo channels. Is that what it is, John?
I think so.
Yeah, so it's 8 channels total, but 2 of them are stereo channels.
Yeah, exactly. So there's 4 XLR
the 6
main ones that go in.
But you can totally control all of those and everything about them with a Quick Smart app that you could put on your phone.
Right. But the question now becomes, because again, we're talking about making the perfect, so we're coming up with these great ideas. So would we do it? Like in my head, in a perfect scenario, if I went to the table at your daughter's wedding and you're sitting there and I go, hey, Brian, how's everything going? Hey, man, it's going great. Everything's great. You know what? I'll be honest with you. You could turn it up a little. Oh, no problems, bro. And I reach in and pull out the phone and turn it up. You're like, whoa, what's next? You're going to change the music? Here, Brian, Prince. And then walk away. I've got to look at that as down the road when your corporation wants to hire a DJ. Man, the guy did my wedding. Talk about technology. Because I don't know about you. I deal with more technology now than less. My clients aren't like building, houses in the woods with a hammer. They're all technology driven. They're all driving electric, hybrid. Like young people embrace technology. The question becomes, how much of the technology do we need to introduce to what we do as DJs? Because we both know the gods of our industry have one thing in common. They can look at a crowd and they can pick the next song. And that's something technology will never do.
I tell you what I think would be probably the ultimate tech to go into what we're using right now. A lot of people would like it. It would be a multi-million-dollar idea for the right manufacturer. And it's this simple. Wireless speakers with the ability to be able to set a delay on them, like the electric voice stuff has.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The electric voice stuff, they'll ask you, what's the delay? How far apart are the speakers? So if you have one in the back of the room, you can set that delay.
Sure.
So you don't hear the weird echo.
Right.
So if there was a company that made like a controller and a speaker who could put that technology inside of their products, this is what it would do. It would make wireless speakers possible. It would also make it so you wouldn't need any kind of external hardware. And it would also make your speakers and your controllers proprietary, so you'd have to buy both of these things together. You couldn't just buy one or the other. You'd have to buy brand X's speakers and brand X's controller for this to work. That is my multi-million-dollar idea for I don't know what company makes controllers and speakers. I have no idea. But if there was one out there, I think that would be a really hot thing to do.
And I think
it would give people a reason to buy the speakers. If maybe the speakers didn't sell that good, here's a reason to buy them.
Even if only one cool guy used them.
Right.
That anyone can name. Literally the only one I know. And this would be good for the chat room. And just by the answer of, if everyone in the chat room could just put yes or no as an answer, do you trust streaming? And the point behind that is, I think the same, if everyone comes in and says, yeah, we all totally trust streaming, then your idea makes complete sense. But if everyone comes back and goes, we're not ready for streaming, then I think there's that sense of, if I have a speaker 30 feet away and it sounds great and something interferes with the signal, I won't name the company, but I did a gig in Duluth, Georgia last year, and another company came out with these tiny little packs that are reminiscent of, remember the old days, you take an old SM58 and you put a Shure wireless on the bottom, and then you had the transmitter. And it's what TV stations use today, which I still don't understand.
By the way, no one
has wireless mics.
Yeah.
But the guy said, it's 2.4 gigahertz. I'm like, so if I'm in a room where everyone has a cell phone, this is useless. He goes, no, we've tested it. Now, Eric Wilson, that we know up in New York.
Yep, he's in there tonight.
Photo one night. What's that?
He's with us tonight.
Oh, Eric's here?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's
Guy Productions. That's Eric.
Good guy. Yeah.
Eric put up a photo of him using the system I'm questioning. And I said, I don't trust it. And he goes, here's a photo of me using it at Lake Placid at the ski jump about 1,000 feet away, no problems. Wow. And I'm like, okay, I was wrong. But the problem becomes, if I said to you right now, with your life on the line, would you trust the 20-year-old SM58 with a cable or this brand new, never heard of wireless mic? You're probably going to pick the SM58 with a cable.
I understand your argument, but on the other hand, we are all trusting wireless microphones for toasts and speeches and officiants using for ceremonies.
Right.
So if we have that much trust, if wireless technology will allow you to do that well, it should allow you to throw the signal from a mixing board or a controller to a speaker without issue.
Right. Now here's
if you had issue, all right?
Right.
Let's say that you set it all up and you got all this interference coming in from cell phones or, I don't know, somebody with a tinfoil hat on or something. You could still run XLR from your mixing board controller to your speaker. You still have that option.
Right. I just think that there's because, I'm the old guy that's got the two speakers next to me, so cables are no issue. Yeah, occasionally I'd love to have a satellite. But by the way, the room overwhelmingly does not trust streaming yet. So I think that until streaming is trusted, I think the same would be true if Pioneer came out tomorrow and said, here's our new DDJ-1000 SRT RB BT. It's a Bluetooth controller that's proprietary to our speakers.
Let me ask Thermo a question. Would you be interested in a controller that sent a wireless signal to the speaker system without anything extra? You just buy the controller, you buy the speakers, and they wirelessly connect. My argument is, I'm the old guy who has two speakers next to him, but I'm also disabled. So for me to run XLR cables, it's kind of a hassle. If I could eliminate running XLR cables, it would shave 10 minutes off my setup. And that would open up some new opportunities for me to do other things.
You know what? You bring up a valid point there. Let me ask you, let me turn the perfect mixer to just real quick, John. Let me turn it to, why don't you tell us whether it exists or not? For you, what's the perfect setup?
For me?
Well, like for you, John, and for Brian. Because it'll be entirely different for the two of you.
See, and what I would like to see, if we were looking at what ideally is kind of almost building on what Brian's been talking about. I mean, you've got Sonos gear out there right now. Sonos is all off the 2.4 or 5, but it's all basically Wi-Fi. And having speakers that I can put around the room in 7 different spots and have it all wireless and all synchronized, that I think is the future of where we're going to be headed to, and figuring out how to make that wireless and making that connection instead of having 4 evolves around the dance floor type of thing. If I have 10 of these speakers around the room and I can control them from an app and be able to adjust it up and down a little bit and have more sound pressure on this end and less on that end, but I can have this full room coverage. I think that's ultimately would be the sound system capability that I'd love to see for myself. So whether that comes is the controller running that would be great. The only thing with the controllers you guys were talking about that I would like to see that I don't have with any controllers I have is I'd like to see easier cleanup. I'm doing an outdoor event and it's dusty and my controller's full of dust, and it's like, okay, I can take one of these car dusting things and that is okay, but I'd like to a way to do it just a little bit easier would be nice to make them.
If you didn't have to wipe down your cables every time you went out and did
that
something,
would be nice too.
Those are a pain in the butt. Yeah. Or you don't even bother. You wind them up dirty, and then the next time you take them out, you're at a nice venue, and it's like, oh, crap,
my shirt's all dusty and dirty after that.
It happens to everybody. I mean, as organized as we'd like to be, sometimes we just neglect doing things because of time constraints or whatever, and it's just a hassle later.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, we'll take care. I'm famous for, I should really wrap these well. I'll do it later. There is never later. Later is when you set up at the next gig. And
right.
Who put this bag of cables together? They're fired. Oh, wait, that
was me.
Yeah. And you're like, I've actually said to people that walk by and said, wow, those cables are everywhere. I'm like, yeah, my other DJ used this gig last time. He's fired when I get back.
I'm going to kill that guy.
Yeah. So he's done.
I've been there. Yeah. Gentlemen, we're up to an hour here. We got to wrap. We need to wrap up.
Thanks for everybody joining tonight. We had a really nice chat room.
Yeah,
we had a good chat room tonight. A lot of good people. Thank you very much. We're grateful that you guys are paying attention and watching and
hanging out and doing your thing.
Thank you.
Let's see. We're gonna put the too many W's. DJNTV.com/chill. You guys can pop out there into the chill room tonight and hang out and have some fun with that this evening. And Jay, I've heard rumors that there might be some more new gear coming out between now and the end of the year.
Oh, I expect there will be from various companies. I mean, and you have to look at it from, there were plans all along, but, I'm kind of just shocked. I have a ticket that's now useless to Wedding MBA.
Mm-hmm.
That was last week. I didn't watch the video. And we're 2 days into the DJ Expo online. I haven't seen a thing. So, this has been that year, but I expect you'll see more gear as we get closer to the end of the year. And then we've got what should be NAMM.
Yeah. If not, there'll be
CES and NAMM.
If you don't see anything cool there, you just have to come in here on Tuesday nights and Jay will show some things or jump on.
I know we'll do a show during the NAMM period, and if I can get my hands on stuff early enough, I'd be happy to bring it in.
That'd be fun. That would be fun.
No, good times. Got a great audience, and if I can bring any of the stuff in, I'm happy to do it for them.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you guys one more time for being with us tonight. Jump out to DJNTV.com/chill and have yourself a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody.